all made up in my head. Destiny's melody calling out to me, so what I'm gonna do is fall for you and walk out to the edge.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Impulsive here, and today I'm bringing us another video. And in this video, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. Probably like 2 weeks ago, I did a video on ranking the DCEU movies, and now I'm going to be ranking the villains. Since there's been eight movies, there's been 8 villains. I'm also going to be doing a video on ranking the secondary main villains, but that's not coming out for a little bit. But yeah, now let's just get on with number 8 on the list, which you guys probably expected him to be pretty low on the list, but yeah, here he is.
They called him Steppenwolf, the end of worlds. He lived only to conquer. Millions fell before his blade, arose again as his parademons. Nightmare creatures who feed on fear.
Forgot to mention that I rank these characters by I put them into categories, and like certain categories give them a certain amount of points, and yeah. So Steppenwolf is number 8. He's the worst villain in the DCEU. He got very little points. He got 11 points. You can see on screen what I ranked it. 2 in rivalry, because the rivalry was not very good. Development 1 out of 2. It was alright, but still not very good, like at all. The acting 1 out of 10. It's not very good. The threat level 0, because like he was really bad. Like once Superman joined, he was so easy to beat. His motivation, it was for Darkseid, and that's all we got from him. That's it. He said for Darkseid, and that's it. That's all we got. And we didn't learn like anything. His design, I gave it a 1 out of 5, just because like the CGI for him was really, really bad. The dialogue, 1 out of 4. It wasn't very good. Screen time, 1 out of 4. He didn't get that much screen time. Storyline, 3 out of 7. The movie was good in my opinion, but like not amazing. It's mostly good because of like the heroes joining forces. But the storyline with the actual storyline with Steppenwolf was not very good. And the villain reveal was 1 out of 2, not very good. So in the end, he got 11 points. He did not do good whatsoever. And yeah, I'm surprised he made it higher than the number 7 spot, but because that villain was really bad too. But yeah, that was number 8. Now let's move on to number 7. I think anybody who's watched Suicide Squad can agree that Enchantress was a terrible villain. Enchantress was one of the reasons the movie was one of the worst ones in the DCEU. It's still an okay movie in my opinion, but that's because of the villains and stuff, and the acting for most of them is really good. Yeah, Enchantress, the villain, was really, really bad. So what I gave her was 1 out of 15 in rivalry. Her rivalry was not good. Development, 5 out of 12. Her development was actually pretty okay. Her acting, 3 out of 10. Yes, it wasn't very good. The acting wasn't very good. The threat level, 0 out of 8, because she was way too powerful for them. Motivation, 1 out of 8. She didn't seem to have anything, like, it didn't give us anything. Her design was 2 out of 5. It was pretty bad. It was better than Steppenwolf's, at least, though. Dialogue, 0 out of 4. Like, she barely ever spoke in English, so, yeah. Screen time, 1 out of 4. She didn't get that much. Storyline, 2 out of 7. It was pretty bad. And the villain reveal was 1 out of 2. So in total, 16 points out of 75. So yeah, I'm gonna no, yeah, that was Enchantress. Now let's move on to number 6.
See, what we call God depends upon our tribe, Clark Joe. Because God is tribal. God takes sides. No man in the sky intervened when I was a boy to deliver me from Daddy's fist and abominations. I figured out way back. If God is all-powerful, he cannot be all good. And if he is all good, then he cannot be all-powerful.
Lex Luthor was definitely better than the previous 2 on this list, but he still wasn't very good. I'd give him a 6 out of 15 in rivalry. His rivalry with Superman and Batman was okay. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good either. His development was, I think his development was actually pretty good. I'd give that a 10 out of 12. Acting was 2 out of 10. Like, he was too eccentric and, like, joyful and, like, really crazy. Like, he was more like the Joker or the Riddler or whatever. His threat was 0 out of 8. He was not a threat whatsoever. Once he created Doomsday was a threat, but he himself was not. Motivation was 2 out of 8. As you saw there, he was like, oh, God can't be all-powerful and all good at the same time. He can only be one. That's literally his motivation. That's it. That was it. Like, nothing. His design, 0 out of 5. Like, literally, in that scene that I just showed you, he was wearing freaking pajamas. Like, seriously, he was wearing pajamas. And he's not even bald, like Lex Luthor usually is. He was only bald at the end. His head was only shaved at the end, and that's really weird. Hopefully he's better in, like, whenever there's, like, the Legion of Doom or Injustice League movie or whatever that was set up at the end of the first Justice League movie. Hopefully he's better then, if that movie ever actually happens. But yeah. Now, dialogue, I give 1 out of 4. Like I said, he's too eccentric and crazy. Screen time, 3 out of 4. He did get quite a bit. His storyline, 2 out of 7. It was alright. And the villain reveal, 0 out of 2. It wasn't very good. So in total, he got 26 points out of 75. Still not very good, but at least a lot better than, kind of better than Enchantress and, Steppenwolf. So yeah, that was number 6. Now let's move on to number 5, which is...
Let's see what kind of god you really are.
Okay, now from 5 and onwards, I actually did like the villain. Ares was, pretty, like, midway through. He's pretty good, in my opinion. His main problem was that he didn't get much screen time, as Ares or as the character that he was pretending to be. His rivalry, I'd say it was probably... I don't know, probably 4 out of 15. Honestly, it wasn't that good. I was considering changing it, like, that's why I was thinking there. 4 out of 15, I think. It was alright. It wasn't great, though. It was a lot better once Steve died. Then she was so freaking pissed. And then on, it was pretty good. It was probably like a 6 at that point, but beforehand, it wasn't that good. So probably a 4 out of 15. His development was really good. I'd give that an 8 out of 12. His acting, 6 out of 10. It wasn't great, but it was pretty good. His threat, 4 out of 8. He's quite a bit more powerful than Wonder Woman, but, like, she could still stand her own. So, like, she could still beat him. So yeah, motivation. I don't really remember much of his motivation, but I'm pretty sure it was because, like, he was trying to end all war or something like that. He was trying to end all war or maybe he was starting it or something like that, and then he was like banished by Zeus, something like that. So if that, it was something like that. So I'd give it a 4 out of 8. It would probably be higher if it was more memorable, but it was something like that. His design, I actually really liked his design. It was 5. I'd give that a 5 out of 5. Dialogue, he didn't have very much good dialogue, so I'd give that a 0 out of 4, honestly. Screen time, 1 out of 4. Storyline, 4 out of 7 I'd give, and villain reveal was really good. I really liked his villain reveal, so I'd give that a 2 out of 2. Overall, Ares got 38 out of 75 points, pretty like halfway there, about halfway, little over. Literally half a point above halfway. But yeah. Overall, Ares was pretty good, but not as good as 4, 3, 2, and 1. But yeah, now let's just move on to number 4.
That trident doesn't change what you are. Half-breed bastard. Atlantis will never accept you as its king. Well then, by bloodshed, do the gods make known their will?
King Orm, also known as Ocean Master, was a really good villain. Now it was really close between the top 4. I'd understand if any of these in the top 4 are your favorite, but I think he's slightly worse than the next 3. Either way, though, Orm was miles better than Ares. Ares got 38 out of 75. Orm got 56 out of 75. He's got a 10 in rivalry, 10 out of 15. His rivalry was really good. 10 out of 12 in development, again, really good. His acting, 9 out of 10. His actor was really good. His threat was perfect, 8 out of 8. Motivation, 3 out of 8. I didn't really understand it that much. His design was 4 out of 5. I really liked his design. His dialogue, I'd give 3 out of 4. It was pretty good. He was good. And coupled with the actor, his words came out pretty menacingly when it needed to. His screen time, 3 out of 4. He got quite a bit. Storyline, 6 out of 7, because that movie was like my second favorite movie in the DCEU and one of my favorite movies of all time. The villain reveal, I mean, his villain reveal wasn't very good, 0 out of 2, but still, nonetheless, he was an amazing villain, and yeah, so yeah, Ocean Master came in at number 4. Now let's move on to number 3, which actually surprised me because he was the main villain of my least favorite DCEU movie, but nonetheless, he was actually a really good villain. So yeah, let's move on to it.
No. I'll come to you.
Given the movie he was in, Black Mask, I'm surprised he made it this high on the list. He was a really good villain, even though, like, he wasn't very comic book accurate, let's be real, but still, he was really good. His rivalry, I'd give 10 out of 15. Development, 10 out of 12. Acting, 8 out of 10. His actor was Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there. So yeah, that was yeah, he was pretty good. He was fairly good in the role. Threat level, 7 out of 8. He was pretty perfect. The only reason he's not 8 out of 8 is because there's multiple people that fought him. So yeah. Motivation, 6 out of 8. Design, 4 out of 5. He just wears like a white suit and a black mask. So yeah, it was pretty simplistic, but still it was really good. His dialogue, 3 out of 4 I'd give. Screen time, 3 out of 4. He was in the movie a lot. Storyline, 5 out of 7, and villain reveal, 2 out of 2. So yeah, Black Mask was a really good villain, surprisingly, considering the movie he was in was not the best. It was okay, but like the worst DCEU movie in my opinion. But still, I really like this villain. You might disagree because he's not very comic book accurate, but still, he was really good in my eyes. So yeah, now let's move on to number 2 on the list.
Oh, snap. You're like a bad guy, right? Okay. Look, before this gets really stupid for you, you should know that I'm basically invincible. So you know...
The weapons of man draw no blood from our kind. The only thing that extinguishes magic is magic. Time to transfer your power to me.
Oh, you did not see that one coming, did you, Grandpa?
Coming in at number 2, we have Dr. Savannah from Shazam. Shazam was my favorite DCEU movie of all time, and one of my favorite movies of all time. And Dr. Savannah was one of the main reasons. He was a really good villain. I'd give him 13 out of 15 in rivalry. Really good rivalry. 10 out of 12 in development. 7 out of 10 in acting. His actor was, I think, Mark Strong or something like that. I forgot his name. I'm pretty sure it's Mark Strong. Maybe something a little bit different. Anyways, threat level 8 out of 8, perfect threat level. Motivation 5 out of 8. Basically, his motivation was like he was told when he was a child by the wizard Shazam that he would never be good enough, and he wanted to prove him wrong. That was pretty good rivalry, not amazing, but pretty good. His design 2 out of 5. It wasn't really great. He basically wore a black trench coat and had a light blue ball in his eye, rather than replacing his eye. Dialogue 3 out of 4. Screen time 3 out of 4. Storyline 6 out of 7, and villain reveal 1 out of 2. Overall, really good villain. 58 points. 58 out of 75. He got the same amount as Black Mask, but I think he was a little bit better. Just in my opinion, I think he was a little bit better than Black Mask. So yeah, now that was number 2. Now let's move on to number 1, which you probably already know what it is. I'm actually surprised that number 1 made it to number 1. Like, the character that's on number 1 made it to number 1.
Look at this. We could have built a new Krypton in this squalor, but you chose the humans over us. I exist only to protect Krypton. That is the sole purpose for which I was born. And every action I take, no matter how violent or how cruel, is for the greater good of my people. And now, I have no people.
Like I said, I'm actually really surprised that General Zod made it to number 1 on the list. But if you look at all the categories, he definitely deserves number 1. Rivalry, 12 out of 15. It was really good rivalry. Development, 10 out of 12. Acting, 8 out of 10. His actor was pretty good. Threat level, perfect, 8 out of 8. Motivation, 5 out of 8. It's pretty much that his sole purpose is to protect Krypton, and after it was destroyed, he needed to create a new Krypton to protect, because that's his sole purpose, to protect his people. And that's a pretty good motivation. Not amazing, but it's still pretty good. Design 4 out of 5. I really like his armor. Dialogue 3 out of 4. Screen time 3 out of 4. Storyline 5 out of 7, and villain reveal 2 out of 2. I really liked General Zod. He got 60 out of 75. None of the villains actually made it to perfect, but still, I really like General Zod, and I think he definitely deserves to be number 1 on the list. So yeah, let me know. Give me your lists in the comments down below. Try using my categories. Try using my categories that I've listed here. There's rivalry, development, acting, threat, motivation, design, dialogue, screen time, storyline, and villain reveal. And then use all those categories. Rivalry out of 15, development out of 12, acting out of 10, threat out of 8, motivation out of 8, design out of 5, dialogue out of 3, screen time out of dialogue out of 4, screen time out of 4, storyline out of 7, and villain reveal out of 2. So yeah, use those categories and then give me your lists in the comments down below. And yeah, I'm going to end the video there. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Impulse Heaven out. Peace.